Yeah, Ray, a drop of golden sun. Me, a name I call myself. Far, a longer way to run.
Yo, we are back. Welcome to the Changing Lanes podcast. Changing Lanes, the podcast. This is episode 2. This is Layne 6. I'm here with Big Sexy. I'm here with Black's Genius. What's good with y'all?
What's up with the miggity max?
Miggity, mic check. Yo, man, we back with another episode, man. Checking in with my brothers. How y'all doing? What's good? How was the weekend?
First up, shout out to our missing horseman, Fred Mack. We're still waiting to get him on the show. He's gonna be here, guys. We're gonna make sure he's here.
Yes.
Shouts to Freddie.
Shouts to Freddie, man. We'll get him here eventually. He's we in some contract negotiations. He's holding out. I'm just kidding.
Trying to get that bag. Don't fumble that bag, Fred. Like Schroeder. Don't fumble the bag.
Oh, that was disgusting. Schroeder. Oh my God.
Shout out to cryptocurrency. That brought him back from the dead. Shout out to cryptocurrency.
Let's talk about it. We getting
crypto just had a bump. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I'm checking in, man. How y'all doing? How's the weekend been? What's been going on?
I got to tell you, I'm going to go ahead and let Big Sexy go ahead and roll on this first.
Yeah. No, well, what up, y'all? The weekend was pretty good. Nice little sundress and linen. You know what I'm saying? Had some.
Hold on. You said sundress and linen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to Virgil Johnson. Shout out to the fan Virgil Johnson.
There you go. Big Verge. What up, Big Verge?
Shout out to the Qs, man.
Shout out.
I don't know about all that.
The purple people eaters, man. Those guys.
Oh. Let's not start.
Shout out to the Qs, man.
Let's not start already. Hold on.
Darnell dusting off his little cap of shoulders over there. I gotta pull out my bow and arrow.
We were really getting into it. So I want to say shout out to Lori Moore for the wonderful performance last night that I sent the video on you guys. Annette Royale, wonderful performance last night. And I don't listen. There was one other young lady. I don't want to mess up. I don't want to destroy her name, but I think they call her like Lady Gigi or Miss Gigi, something like that. But all three ladies were awesome, fantastic, amazing. So shout outs to the good vibes last night, controlling the crowd last night. Like shout outs to that. You know what I'm saying?
Sounds like it was a good event, man. I saw a couple videos. I'll be hawking from the East Coast, trying to see what's going on, trying to live vicariously through the single brother that we do have still.
Rocking and rolling.
Yeah, listen. I guess having the nickname Big Sexy is going to keep me single for the rest of my life. I think people are very scared of young ladies the ladies are scared of the Big Sexy nickname. It's crazy.
Right. Well, we'll get into that in a minute because I do want to talk about what it's like to be a single dude out there now, especially with this age of social media and how women are acting, reading and reacting rooms out there.
Stay tuned. I got a story to tell.
Haha, I got a story to tell. Darnell, man, how you doing?
Yeah, cannot say how much it's been just a glorious ride. Like finding the inner peace, I tell you, I'm gonna be the one to talk about the spirituality, right, guys? So the spirituality. So here I am. It's the weekend. It's the week. What happens? My boss tells me, "Oh, I'm retiring." So
what?
Brand new news.
Oh, wow.
That's a hot take on
That's a hot take, baby. So
wow.
That came this week. So that was interesting. And it was more interesting. I talk about this soul surfing now, being able to you can't control anything around you, right? You can't control anything outside of you. So it's all like energy waves, just like waves coming at you. So you got to like surf them, right? Like, so I've been like doing more of this like soul surfing. So the news, weirdly enough, did not like send me into a tizzy like I thought it would, but like it was like this calm response of, well, I mean, it doesn't really matter for me because I don't look at my job or my career any longer as my like endpoint or my final destination. So like it was like, oh, that's nice for my boss. So I was like, like thinking about her getting her freedom back, like the love, like the love of your own time, of being able to be with your family without somebody looking for you. Kind of like what I found again with COVID. So like during this like COVID epidemic and being locked in, right, the whole lockdown, I found this like love of having my life back, my life minutes, and so that once again got me refocused on doing this work, right? Like doing this work of building our thing, right? Like what is like we look at all these like external businesses and these organizations that came and has been around for 30 years. Well, here's what week one of ours, right? Like and like I'm focusing on that and pouring all of my energy in that because you never know. One day somebody's gonna tap you on the shoulder and say, "Hey Don, guess what? I'm retiring." So, so
Shout out to getting your love back and finding that peace, and of what's real in the world today. What's real, being able to be around your loved ones and to feel that energy and to find some new things in life during the pandemic. That's awesome, bro.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and that's hard to do, especially with everything that's going on with this pandemic, man. I feel like folks had to refocus a lot in terms of work, in terms of life, in terms of love. A lot came into focus for me with just what's important, right? With like, I Dave calls me from time to time, right? And it's just a simple outreach. It's a simple thing. You in the car. He called me yesterday, I think. He was in the car just checking in. You know what I'm saying? And the feeling that you get after that, it's a little bit of euphoria.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and it's the shit. I was listening to a podcast this week and it was talking about outreach to your mother.
Huh.
And I don't talk to mom probably enough. Right? Trying not to get emotional. I don't talk to mom probably enough, but this pandemic put a lot into perspective. I didn't see her in almost 2 years. She had some hesitation with the vaccine. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen. People are dying all around us. So that drove me to like talk to her more, but I'm trying to be intentional with that, like the outreach. And part of that drive came from Dave, right? Like, just watching him from the outside in do that with different people in the fam. It showed me a lot in terms of action. So kudos to you, Dave.
No, listen, bro, I appreciate that. Appreciate that, without getting emotional either, because we some preachers out here. Part of that is just staying tapped in. I mean, we always talk about, we've had plenty of conversations like this all together where we was like, yo, why everybody only get together when there's a funeral?
Real.
And that's a real thing. And, so staying tapped in is the key. So, I could be going somewhere and, they say we always on our phone and they say that, a lot of times we always text whatever, why don't I just call somebody? You know what I'm saying? Why not just, the pandemic kind of did that too, right? Pandemic kind of say, well, hey, I can't see you in person, but let's get on a Zoom. Let me at least see you, right? You know what I'm saying? See how you doing. So that's what I want to do. I just want to tap in. I just want to tap into everybody and just say, hey, because I remember, a lot of people used to think, and this goes back to like kind of social media stuff, right? I was used to people always used to, you take a lot of pictures on Instagram. You always doing selfies, and I was like, that's because I'm trying to send good energy through pictures. Because y'all like to scroll, y'all like to like it. Look, that's what y'all do. Y'all be tapping the button. And I said one of the reasons why I do it was because I was getting DMs about my videos and energy, and people were telling me if it wasn't for you, I would have killed myself.
Mm.
And that really hit me hard. I was like, so for me, it became I go into my Captain America thing, right? I'm saving lives, right? So I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna send a picture of a smile, and I'm gonna put a real thought problem, put some motivational quote behind it, right? Or I'm gonna sit here and I'm just gonna take a video of me singing, right? And just put it out there. But the response would be, yo, you made me think about something. You changed my thought process. That's something that was so negative, you know. You just and other thing I was realizing, I'm not realizing like it could be a person I just was having a good conversation with the night before at some jazz spot, some poetry thing, and all of a sudden they were when they left me, they were going home to kill themselves. And that could have been the night before. It's like this has happened.
Yeah, you
So
never know.
yeah, that's why I do what I
You
do,
never
man.
know. Yo, do y'all think? Okay, we talk about men, women. We talk about gender roles, right? So I get some of that too, right? And y'all know I got my narcissistic piece to me. I got my ego. I'm a Leo. It happens. Fine.
Only
Okay.
sign ruled by the sun. You got reasons, man. You got reasons.
You know the reasons.
Ain't nothing else. It can nothing else can nothing else impact you over the electromagnetic waves of the sun, baby. Like you gotta understand that. Like that's the one thing holding this whole solar system together. So if you're born under that, how you expect to listen to anybody else?
I don't.
Exactly.
So look, I get it, but my question is,
I don't.
Sounds to be the truth.
I feel like this comes a lot from women, right? Like women act like we are not supposed to either celebrate ourselves or they don't want men to be too much into ourselves, right? Like,
Interesting.
oh, you take a lot of selfies, you might take more selfies than me. So what if I do? Right? Like we trying to spread good energy out there. We trying to show some love, spread some light. Do y'all get that from men, women? What do y'all see that?
Oh, we're about to get into that. Yo,
Get into it.
Yo, okay, y'all want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about being walked up to randomly in some location. Let's just call it a bar. Let's call it a club. Let's call it the library. Let's call it. It's happening in the coffee shop. You're conceited, aren't you? What? Wait, I don't know you. Wait, I'm sorry. I can tell just by looking at you. Wait, just by looking at, wait, you just sucked all the happiness and joy out of my experience. Well, apparently I do that. I did that. I didn't know I did that. But that was early on. Either way.
Right.
Coming, like I was coming face to face with this. Like there was this statement made to me, and this is gonna be slightly vulgar, so we might have to bleep it out later on. But the statement was that this was from a group of women. This was a consensus, and the women they were from various aspects of life, different places. I would say they all had college degrees though. That was the one commonality, but in terms of race and age, that had slight variation to it. But the one common point was that quote unquote successful Black men act like you're supposed to drop down on your knees and suck their dick as soon as you meet them. And I don't know where that comes from. I didn't know where that came from. I was really like taken aback. Like, why is this a sentiment like that's walking around? But apparently it's some like type of characteristic that's being placed on us that we are egotistical and we walk around like we think our quote unquote shit don't stink. And and the public, I mean, it's just been thrown in my face. I've been taken aback by the reactions, like snarls at me, like rolling of the eyes, and I haven't even said a word. I don't even know how to like approach it. I'm not even like that. I'm a nerd. I don't even know what they're doing. I had to ask David. I was like, "Hey, Dave, do I buy him a drink or something? I don't even know. I don't."
Yes.
I was like, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. I think there's levels to it. I think there's, because what when you talk about successful man, right? Obviously, doesn't always have to be money, right? It can, because for a person not to know you, right? It was the energy given off, right? And a lot of people say, well, we're rich. I'm rich with love. I'm rich with just living my life, right? There's levels of successes. But when you talk about, if they're talking about, or maybe the stories that are told, right? Because to each at their own. But when you're talking about like the super successful, the person that's the millionaire, the billionaires, right? You hear that, right? You hear those whispers that those type of men expect women to do what you said, right? Those type of men, right? Get on your knees. I got them. I got the security. I got the finances. Get on your knees. You just do what I say. You got the guys that are successful that makes six figures, right? Possibly, I know the blue collar hard working guy, right? That I don't. So to your point, I think that part of it might overshadow all men that are successful, and all men expect women to do that, and I guess that's what they get from it.
So I've been thinking a lot about men in particular and ego. And some of this thought process comes from this emotional intelligence class that I'm in right now, right? But in doing some of my own soul searching, I have had to beat back my ego. And this thought process was talking mainly about leadership and ego, and how like leaders need to either drop the ego or beat that back as you're trying to lead other people, or you're trying to be like this servant leader, right? So as we think about that in like relationships, how has ego played out for y'all in like real life, and how has it taken a center stage and not?
And destruction. So can I take that one first, D? Big sexy, black sexy, big sexy.
Go. Well, I'm gonna drink this water.
Yeah. Yo, so I used to be like mad materialistic and like egotistical. So like, and I'm gonna say used to. This is an interesting thing. So the last week talking to one of the deans at the college, um, she said a weird statement to me. She said, "You know, you seem like you think you're taller than what you actually are." And I looked at her and I was like, taller than what I said, actually, you got it wrong. That might have been something that you might have seen years ago from me, but actually, I'm nothing. And what I am, like being nothing, there's nothing that can impact nothing, right? Like, so I think more so, this is my own thought now outside of the conversation after I said that. I think more so what she was experiencing, I think there was a couple of theories about that. One, I thought that she was like dealing with her own like mental like um back and forth around why she experiences like fear around me, or and then impose that on me, like I was the one that was, so I'm bigger now, I'm like looming over her, or like like when she sees me, right? Or that she's just generally afraid in life, and she's told stories about her past, and like there's been things around like being bullied, right? Like, so I understood that. So that then made me think about the fact that she might be scared still on the inside. And because I have now, so this is the other end of the spectrum, right? Like, so one end of the spectrum is like the ego. I got all materialism, right? Give me all the labels, put them all over my body, and now I'm like, great. Then there's, so now that I'm nothing, I'm not even like thinking about that. I'm just thinking about like joy and happiness, right? Like, it struck me though, it seemed like if she couldn't make me afraid, if she couldn't like like impose herself upon me. I guess like how the bullies used to impose them on her. That somehow now that I think that made her afraid again. She like lost control. And so it like put me in this position of like now I became once again the bully. Right. And I think that's how she started perceiving me. And I think that started to play out in the world, right? Like so I came from the world of being bullied, right, as a nerd, right? Then all of a sudden God was like, sprinkle, sprinkle, put the Superman body, right, on me. So I got the Superman body. Shout out to Superman. I got the Superman tat, right? Uh, so that's an embodiment. We'll talk about characteristics later, especially when you talk about a father not being in a household and what items can a male child pick up in order to attach to grow themselves healthily in that environment, right? So in either way, talking about this ego shit. So that also could lead to a misconception around ego, right? You got this Superman symbol. You think you're all that, think you're all this. So I think that led to the death of my first marriage. When you asked like what were the ramifications of that,
The ego specifically.
Ego specifically. I think it led to my unhappiness in general, like all in reference to my ego. Everything bad I think that happened, I credit everything bad that happened in my life, what I consider bad, right? Nothing's good or bad, but what I consider bad in my life, what I didn't want, I absolutely attribute it to my ego, which I think closes off perception and allows you not to be able to see 360, right? Like it doesn't, it cuts off your awareness of certain things happening. And so you're kind of like walking around like with one eye and you think you see everything, but either way.
Golden.
All right.
So Dave, Big Sexy, how has this played out for you, man, in terms of ego, in terms of where you are now, sort of how you've grown as a man, where you came from, where we came from, and how has ego played out for you as a black man in this world?
Well, go for Black Genius. It's we all know ego is very destructive. It's a very destructive force. It's pride. Um, uh, it it you at some point there's a balance, right? There's a balance in how you attack growing. Ego can help and ego can destroy, right? It can build up, it can destroy. For me, per se, like it was good to I would refer to the song Mirror on the Wall. Shout out to Lil Wayne, Bruno Mars. Mirror on the wall, here we are again. Through my rise and fall, you've been my only friend. You told me that they can understand the man I am, so why are we here talking to each other again? Right? So that part of it, that verse, or it told me a lot. Like it's like, okay, I'm talking to myself. I got to look at myself in the mirror, right? Because at some point your ego says, "Oh, these folks understand who I am. They understand." But you end up having to go back and talk to yourself again because things have been happening in your life that you're like, wait a minute. You told me that they can understand me, but they're not really understanding me. So I gotta change. I gotta move. I gotta grow. And that, that in itself helped me grow as an individual to kind of keep some type of balance and let go. Right. I can say that I've used say relationships wise, it's been very destructive. Obviously, in my younger days, me telling myself I'm this, I'm that. I got all this handled. I'm very successful doing this, very successful doing that. And I deserve this and I deserve that. When all in all, I don't deserve anything, right? I just, if you just exist, what I've learned is if you just exist and being who you are and doing what you do, then things just kind of come to you, and you gotta So for me, uh, I killed off the ego to be who I am now. Like even like we talked about earlier, the nickname Big Sexy. I said Big Sexy, man, kind of scared. I said I think I'm gonna be singing the rest of my life because I think that the nickname Big Sexy scares off of the women, right? They might say, "Oh, Big Sexy," and look at me and say Big Sexy, but then, you know, I've also heard the same said that, "Oh, a lot of women call you Big Sexy, don't they?" Right? And it's things I gotta answer. I have to answer that question. Like, well, I guess we supposed to be just talking about me and you and how you feel about who I am, but we get into this whole thing and it turns into something different, right? It turns into something different. So um, no, who I am today as a man, um, uh, I kind of I have to beat it back, like you said. I have to beat it back. I have to keep a balance because it helped me push through being a black man, growing up in America, and dealing with all of these different buckets of life. But at the same time, I know that it's too much of it has been very destructive in my life too,
Right.
and I had to pull back and really balance. So for me now, I'm at peace. I'm at peace. So people want to know who I am now. Maybe they say when you get older, sometimes you realize it, but I'm at peace now, and I'm still on this journey. Dealing with it. So
Yo, y'all said a lot that resonated, man, with me as I've been thinking about this, right? So, um, at some point in my life, I had to ask. Y'all know I'm a very prideful dude, man. That's a part of being a Leo. It's who I am. Um, at some point, I had to ask, will my pride be the death of me?
Mm.
Because it was running me towards a cliff. And I think every man hits that point, right, in your life where uh, ego becomes your form of protection. And Black's Genius, you alluded to this when you were talking about um, and Big Sexy, you alluded to this as well when you were talking about how ego sometimes protects us when we're growing up, or who we are, right? Donnell, you talked about being bullied, um, and Dave, I think you mentioned it as well, in terms of ego as a form of protection. And that makes me think of Kanye as I'm listening to this new Donda album. As I'm listening to the album, I can
out?
see him
Is it
trying to
out?
tap. Say
Is
again.
it is it out? Is the Donda album out? Because I'm like
Not out. It's not out, but I got some industry insiders.
There you go. That's right. That's what I'm talking about.
you ain't pushing nothing to the horseman. What's going
I
on?
got some industry insiders, but I'm not bootlegging. Don't sue me.
Right. No
But
bootleg. No
I
bootleg.
see some of this in Kanye as he's trying to tap back into his. Some people might call it conceited. Some people might call it ego. He's trying to tap back into that as a form of protection. That's him putting on armor, so the world can't hurt me. Right. So I think as men, we try to do that, and we talk about these alter egos, and I think we all have D-Lane 6, Black's Genius, Big Sexy, and I think about Jay-Z's 444. The song "Die Jay-Z." He had to kill Dave. Dave, you said it. He had to kill off that part
Yes.
of himself, right? Because he's taking that persona to the point where it almost becomes who you are. Your persona becomes who you are, right? So I think we have to be careful, especially now where people live completely different lives on social media than they are in real life. That song "Die Jay-Z" on 444 resonated with me as well, right? Resonated with me as well because are we being the same person at home as we are at work, or are we being the same person? Are we being authentic with ourselves? You know, with the person that we are online, or are we playing a front? Man, I think ego plays into all of that. Um, and Donnell, you mentioned something interesting as well about that managing stereotype threat piece, right? With the dean, um, with us having our stature, right? I'm 6'4", Dave 6'3", Donnell 6'5".
I don't go 6'5".
At some point, we have to manage this to make other people comfortable.
Yep.
And this is something that kind of pisses me off.
Pisses me off.
But it's something as black men, large black men, you have to do.
Yep.
So Claude Steele wrote a book called Whistling Vivaldi. Claude Steele, 6'4", 245, 250 pounds. I feel like he's me. I'm reading this book, right? And the premise of the book is about managing stereotype threat out. The stereotype threat is when people see you, they onto you, right? Some of what's happening to you, Black's genius, they project that onto you. And he had to learn when he got into like elevators or small spaces with white folks, he had to learn to whistle Vivaldi. And we've all heard these little tunes, the same tune you would hear on your cell phone, right? Like he had to learn to whistle classical music to make other people feel comfortable. They're like, oh, he knows classical music. He's not a threat. He's not gonna rob me or whatever, right? So that comes to mind a lot as well, man. As we're talking about all of this. So I was watching this video by this dude Dan Fox. It was a TED talk on the hidden truth about human connection, and it was talking about ego. What are your motivations? All this kind of stuff, man. So I appreciate getting y'all views because I think as men, we have to kill that part of ourselves in some capacity to evolve and to survive.
I would say so. I'd say you like I said, you still got to keep the balance, right? Because you do have to protect yourself from the world. I think the world cultivates a lot of narcissistic people, and it's a lot of manipulation, and you have to be aware, right? You use certain words. So yeah, Black.
Yes, if it's all outward facing. And that's what more so the ego is like built for, right? To handle the outward facing world. And so when you kill it, you're only left with your inside. You're only left with you on the inside, and it creates this like weird like stillness, right? Like because you're no longer looking for the output, right? You're no longer looking for the input of the input from the outside world, if you will, right? And so to like drive you or to like get you up in the morning, like that, I feel like the ego is like, I guess you could put E for external, because it like really uses a lot of your external environment to drive your internal action. And so you look to the outside world to manage what's going on inside you, thinking that somehow it has some type of impact on your inside. And like the ultimate realization is that you create it all. You created your ego. You create how everything feels in the world to you. You experience the world. So no, there's no bad feeling that ever actually happens to you that's caused by anybody else. That's the weirdest. That's been the weirdest concept that I've had to swallow, chew on, continue to practice, because I had to just turn the finger around. I had to turn the finger. It was like, oh, that person's doing this to me. No, it's actually, I'm just making up whatever feeling I have inside. I'm creating whatever psychological drama is going on in my mind. And that's basic. And I created my ego. And so basically created an identity that then I like this and I don't like that. And I like this and I don't like that. One box after another. Just one smaller box, putting me into a smaller box, making my own self-imposed prison. So once I found the key to starving that ego, who is me still? So I can't be that bad. We talk a lot of bad, like there's a lot of bad words that hover around the ego thing. But it's all me though. And so I got to be careful with that, because I got to be nice to myself in the end. Because who else? Like
that's the balance.
Who else? Right? Exactly.
You said the key. I earlier today I said, remember I said sometimes you're at war with yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I see. Yep. That's the balance. You're at war with yourself.
Always.
Yeah. Always at war with yourself. Yo,
me versus me.
Yeah, I was watching you, and I was like, look, he's talking about what I like and what I don't like. I was like, going back and forth. What happened was I saw you split in two. I'm looking at you, and I saw you split in two as you were talking, like genius.
Yeah.
You split in two, and I saw one person over here talking, and the other person over here talking, and so the explanation is two of you are trying to keep this balance, the external and the internal.
That's the yin and the yang.
Right.
Divine masculine, divine feminine energies. We got to find a balance in ourselves. We typically have an absence of one, especially in males, especially in quote unquote black males who have to traverse a world that hunts them. We get hunted.
Yeah, we get targeted, hunted. I can't go no big black. If I get upset, angry, savage,
angry savage, right? The angry black man, and
yeah.
Especially trying to navigate those waters at work.
Yeah,
trying to navigate those waters at home, right? Not to speak of negative energies. I've been in relationships where I've been threatened for somebody to say, "Oh, I'll call the police."
That's right.
Yeah. And they'll believe me because I'm half white.
That's right.
Aware
of it, and we'll say it directly to you.
That was the last straw, by the way. That's right. I had to get up out of there after that, man.
Yo, listen. Shout outs to the honesty. Shout outs to us being transparent. For all y'all out there that's feeling on this podcast, this is us. We are being outward honest. You guys wanted to know. You guys wanted to hear what we all about, right? We are putting this out here so you can truly understand. This is not to judge. This is just to understand, because we really don't like. It's us, and it's funny that D Lane 6. I'm gonna call you Deep 6. That's what I'm calling you. Deep 6, bro. Right? It is like,
wait, in the deep. He's not the guy from Boys, right? He can't be the guy from Boys.
No, he can't be him. I don't think that.
He's
called the Deep.
Okay.
He's called.
Right.
He's nasty too.
Yeah.
That Aquaman that had a sexual problem. No, ain't nobody talking about.
Yeah, he's kind of a predator.
Gross.
No, no. I was, when he said that, it brought me back to a place where in my relationship, I was like, I said, man, this is a double standard here, right? You could literally call the cops on me, say I raped you, and they haul me off to jail.
It's a tough one, man.
And nothing I could do about this in my own home. I said it's a double standard. Like,
and she wasn't gonna say rape; she was gonna say I hit her, which is crazy to me. Yeah. Right. I mean, both are crazy. Don't get me wrong, but like,
listen, it's a dangerous. I guess to the people out there, we're letting you know. So this is real life stuff, reality stuff that we've had to deal with, and you can look at us and say, "Well, how come they didn't end up in jail?"
Well, that's the thing. How come? Because you can't, unfortunately, can't really say it was all just because of our doing. It was a lot of luck involved. It was a lot of luck, a lot.
That's true.
And that's the part that
on a mama that was gonna come looking for somebody because she knows how good her sons are, and her sons wouldn't do something like that. Maybe
Yeah, but once you're in the system, I don't think that can help you. Or I was thinking about this the other day too. Once, and I was thinking about Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo recently resigned. For our listeners that don't know,
he was a lord.
Cuomo, governor of New York, recently resigned. He was accused of sexually harassing 11 women at this point. So he's resigned his governorship of New York, and someone else, I believe, the lieutenant governor. I don't remember her name. She'll be stepping into his place. He put in his 2 weeks notice. He didn't cop to doing it, but he's like, I'm stepping aside. The country should be focusing on coronavirus, not me. This is a distraction. It's getting too much. I'm out of here.
Right.
But
and what's weird is Dave talks about the double standard. Didn't you hear in the news, right, rolling right up to those allegations and accusations, like people like sexualizing him? Wasn't he being sexualized in the media
Yep.
as being like the hot old guy, the hot like dad, or the hot, right, like hot grandpa, and his brother too.
Right around the time they were saying Cuomo for president.
Exactly, right? Exactly. They objectified him. They turned him into something like, right, that was a sex.
Like the savior. They turned him into the savior. They turned him into a savior.
And then took him out.
Now, I don't know.
I'm not gonna say they took him out. I'm not gonna say that.
It's possible. It's possible.
It is possible.
It's politics, and it is possible. We've seen that before, right?
I just have to say. Hold on, I just have to say this, Black Jesus. My bad, man. Pardon the interruption. Right? But you said it all the time. There's reality, and then there's your reality.
That's true.
So when we get caught up in this, like, okay, we're a podcast, right? We know our reality. We're being real. And we start getting into these conversations about these things that are happening out here in the world. That's another reality. We don't know what's right, what's not true.
That's
you
right.
know, we're just speculation.
But perception. Once that I said all this to say, once that perception is out there, you are fucking done.
Yes.
You're done, whether it's true or not.
Yep.
So, had me deathly afraid, bruh.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last straw.
Here he is. Here he is, and we, obviously, what was put out there was that he was this great Cuomo president. You know what I'm saying? He's talking the real issues. He's seeing the real things going on. He ain't afraid. He ain't shutting up for nobody.
Real New Yorker. Shout out to New York.
Shout out to NYC.
Yo.
And then boom, he gets hit with this, and it's just like if my girlfriend would have side raped him. It's just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, all that. She said I raped her. I'm going to jail. That's it. It's a wrap.
Under the jail.
They coming in, they're looking at me, and
that's what I mean about luck. There's so many innocent guys sitting in jail right now. They didn't do anything. We think we're good guys. Yeah, we can think we're good guys and we can do good things. That's not how this place works for us, and unfortunately, right? Like, we don't get the benefit of being the good guy. We get and that's it's a gift and a curse, because you can work it all types of ways, and it's only one dimensional when you're talking about where that's applied to. And that's that whole thing of, I'm a black man and I gotta live in America and I gotta be under all of these things. That's a dimension of existence, right? Like, if I'm attached to this identity of a black man, if I attach to this identity of being an American, I'm attached to the identity of living in America. Not to say it's not real, not to say that these things, that people don't believe in these things and are acting out in such a way. And you pull out a cloth, right, with some colors, and the crying starts. From a cloth, you change colors up, you draw some lines on it, right? You can make you talk about all these groups that have grown and started to follow something. So when we talk about the ego and going through that piece and like the death of it and who we are and these identities and dealing with stereotypes, it sounds like it's dealing with these boxes. We're trying to understand this grand cosmos, this big ass universe, and it's so big. We're trying to break it down into chunks so we can try to understand it. And instead of finding understanding and finding happiness and joy, we end up like feeling depressed. And then we want to be safe, because being out in the wilderness is scary. So we build little boxes called homes, and then we get into our smaller box called a room, and then we get into our smaller box called our bed, and so that we can have our sleep, those little slices of death. Oh, how I loathe them. Y'all know what that is.
Shout out to Freddy Krueger, man.
Dream warriors don't want to Elm Street.
And it was just Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Shout out to Jason too.
That's right.
Shout out to Jason Voorhees. Shout out to the ugly dude in the mask.
Yo, Black Genius, you said something earlier that resonated, man. You said, we created all of it. When we were talking about this ego thing, as you're talking about the perception, as you're talking about what's real, what becomes real to us, We create all of that. You sent across a video earlier in the week of Sadhguru.
Shout outs to my
whose name
dude.
Yes,
Jaggi Vasudev.
Yes.
And the video was about organizing your mind, right? Getting your energy and your mind, your body to move all in the same direction.
Yes.
But the point that blew me away was that we are the creators.
Yes.
Right. We are in search of this creator, but we have to realize that we are the creators. And as you were talking, right, he says, to function, we have to get to a place where we function here as a creator and not just a piece of the creation. Right. And that I've carried that with me this whole week. I couldn't wait to say that on this podcast. Holy shit. Glad I got that one off. But as you're talking, we create not only the positive, we create the positive and the negative. Dave, thank you for putting those up.
Yes.
Right? The balance and the force.
That's right.
The yin, I call it the yin and the yang. This is how you keep the balance. You got that dark side, that good side. So they always at battle with each other. But that's how you keep it.
Yeah, man. And I think that's part of the reason why things like Star Wars like resonated so much with us as kids, because
shout out to Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker, George Lucas even, right? Yes. Like George Lucas created this entire universe where you have this mystical force out there that has two sides that are pulling at you. You can tap into one or the other, right? And the Jedi code, we can get into that and all of that. But how people tap into that, why people tap into that, what their motivations are is wild.
I said shout out to nerds. Shout out to the nerds out there. Shout out to all the nerds.
Shout out to the blurs, the black nerds. We wave that flag high. See Donna with the Wu-Tang shirt on. Shout out to the Wu.
Wu-Tang. Homicide league. Was just the father homicide. When die, it's on iniquity. It's the master of the man. Master coming at you.
Hey,
Cream. Cash rules everything around me.
Cream, get the money.
Dollar bill, y'all.
Yo, I did want to talk about this piece before we move on. I do want to tap on this piece about are women lonely, but before we get there, I want to talk about the father not being in the crib. So this might get a little deep, right?
Yeah, let me straighten out my hat for this.
You know what I mean?
Sex building.
and it's funny that Nello, you mentioned this earlier. It's funny, bro, because I'm on Twitter this morning and I'm scrolling. Joe's feeding the baby. He was crying his face off, and I'm like, damn. I'm not actively engaging with him, but I'm really glad that I'm here right now. And I'm scrolling on Twitter and I see this post that was a picture of a tire. Stick with me. This is all over the place, but stick with me. It's a picture of a fucking tire and it has little boxes around the numbers on a car tire. And it's explaining what those numbers are. Right? So you have your radial width, your speed, you just had like all those numbers mean something, and I'm going to pull this up. Your ratio of height to width, your rim diameter code, right? Your radial, your severe snow conditions, your tire ply composition is on there. All of that information is on there, but it was like, I'm posting this here for people that didn't grow up with a dad. And I'm like, holy shit. Trigger response. This shit triggered me.
Yes.
I scrolled past that shit mad fast. And then I went back and tried to find it. I couldn't find it.
Wow.
Right. And then I was pissed off because I was like, I should probably retweet this for anyone else who might need this information. So I went off and I found another picture and then posted that. Right. Follow me on Twitter, DLane6. It was mind blowing to me that I was triggered by this. And I wrote that in the repost, right? Or in the post, of just things we had to learn, either learning from each other or things that mom couldn't necessarily teach us. And Nello, you mentioned this earlier, the different pieces that we had to grab along the way because we didn't have a dad in the crib or a male figure that's like your father.
There you go.
Yep. You know, so I want to talk about how that manifested for y'all journey with that, how that, like, because, you know, for me, I was in a negative space with that for a very long time. That's some shit I had to let go of, you know. And as I'm trying to figure it out now, as sort of the new dad, you know, you get to rewrite the book, do shit however you want to do shit. You know, it's always an interesting space for me because as a baby, I mean, they're like, you just try to keep them alive. You feed them, make sure they're warm, like try to figure out what comfort is to them. But when they get older, you have to think about, and I guess you have to start thinking about that now, but you have to start thinking about, oh, what am I going to teach this kid to survive in this world? Right? And I feel like we had to either figure out a lot on our own, learn it from each other, or we're missing pieces going out into the world. So tell me how that resonates for y'all, how that works out for y'all in your lives right now.
You want to take this on first, Black Genius?
I got a lot, Dave.
I apologize if this is getting too deep, man. This is something that popped up this morning. Donnell, you triggered it.
I got a lot too. So, you know, so let me start out first because obviously.
All right, let's break it into 1 minute clips. That helps with the thinking, I think. So I'll use a timer. 1 minute clips, so we can go back and forth on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna start firing off.
All right, go.
It was very hard for me, obviously, as a young man, because who did I have to learn from, right? I just picked what I could. I tried to pick the goodness out of whatever men that were around, and as I did that, you know, that kind of helped me. It kind of helped me set a place. I knew I had younger brothers, and I knew I had to set an example. So, you know, I used to always say, if I did bad things, don't do what I do. If I did good things, do what I do. And that's what helped me set an example for y'all. Because if there was no father around, then I just, you know, I had to pick. So I had to learn things through trial and error, you know.
45 seconds.
And it was just, yeah, it was crazy for me. It was really, really crazy for me. It was hard. So it was hard.
All right, I'm stopping at the 1 minute mark, hitting the reset, and going myself. And we can edit this out in the video, so I'll make it just clean. I'll just cut this side part out. So 1 minute, start now. Yo, what's really, I think, gonna bake people's noodle out there in terms of my thought process after all that we've been through, guys, is that who really got a daddy home? Who really, they took them all out the home. Like, we were focused on them taking our guy out the home. And I looked over at the white men and they do all the working. So if they working all the time, they work hard as hell. Like, I ain't, no shout out to the white man. Work hard as hell. Right? So if that's the case, then who at home? It's mama. So we're daddy. And so everybody run around talking about, I need a daddy, I want a daddy to be home. Daddy is waiting for daddy. We're talking about waiting for Superman. It's really waiting for daddy, right? There's a lot of people, that 45 seconds for me too. 45. So there's a lot of people walking around feeling the same thing of like, I love my daddy, but he was never around because he had to give up his life to bring home the resources that we needed to survive. And that's 1 minute for me.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a lot, man.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
You go back to it, and it turns into, you know, no going to meetings, or you know, your dad taking you here, dad taking you there, or being a part of some type of you know, baseball, basketball, you know what I'm saying, or someone showing up for your games, and you know, look to. You know, I remember one point, you know, shooting basketball when we had the basketball hoop in the front of the, you know, of the house, things of that nature. You know, I mean, I looked for it, but it wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? So I found, you know, I tried to find it in every man that I thought was doing good, right? You know, shout out to my partner Kuba. I look at his I look at his family and what he does. I mean, one of the reasons why I connect with him is because of his dedication to his family, and what he does for them, what he does for his children, and what he does for his wife. So it's a big deal for me. So it's got to be embedded. If you can't find it from somewhere, if you never had it in your life, it's got to come from somewhere. Like it's got to.
Yeah.
You are absolutely right. And so, and that's where that Superman piece came in earlier, right? So I realized what I did when I was younger was because I had those questions on who am I supposed to be? How am I supposed to like operate in this world that I find myself in? I then found myself looking at fictional characters, looking at their personalities and picking out what part of their personalities I liked and what part of their personalities I didn't like. What started to weird me out and confuse me was when I started to like characteristics out of the villains because they kept winning. And I don't like to lose. And it looked like the heroes kept losing. I will never lose. Superman, right? Like that's the whole thing, right? Like, so that is where I attach to that part of the strongest being in the universe of DC Comics, right? Like shout out to Marvel. So so that's how I attached to Superman, and they use that to walk through the world, like to create an identity to walk through the world. But how about the gift? Without attachment, if we always want to look for the positive, but what about the negative things that would have been brought into the house? That would have been re-emulated inside of us and carried on and carried forth through the world. I'm watching that in various scenarios in my life where individuals are dealing with people in that household that, there's a lot of question around this identity of family and what it really means to be mother, daughter, father, right? And son, right? All of that. And but what happens if you're a toxic individual and you got a father, a son, or a daughter, and you're trying to take care of them, but all you're doing is destroying that new little life and showing them how to hate and giving them pain. And what does it really mean to be in that person's life at that moment? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it all comes back to really like the importance of understanding you and because we create this all, right? Like we are the creators.
Now, Mom says this at certain points, and she doesn't give it all, but I get the feeling that she was trying to protect us from something, right? By making that split and making it as hard line in the sand as it was, bruh.
Yes.
She had to be trying to protect us from some shit. We know Dad was, let's just say he had a storied history in New York City.
Yes.
But Mom was trying to protect us from something with making that break as clean as it was.
And I can say that she can look at reality directly. Now she's just like all of us. She can take reality and manipulate it and change it into what she needs it to mean for her to make herself feel comfortable. Got that. With that being said, she still was able to see that we needed to be protected by the sometimes predatory nature of males, right? Males can be predatory. And I think that is, well, I'm going to give it scientifically over to testosterone, makes us aggressive. We already have the ability to build more muscle mass, right? We're larger than the average human female, right? So if you are going to bring a male into your home, you do need to make those considerations, right? Like, is this person going to hurt me? Are they aggressive? Like, how am I going to protect myself when I bring this person back to my little cave, to my little, abode? So
your little box.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the Cubs at the home.
Yes, with the Cubs at the home.
Cubs at the crib, right? Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's a hard choice to make, man. So,
hold on, shout out to women making that hard choice.
Shout outs to women who make the hard choice, but shout outs to women who make the hard choice the other way as well. So Mom, right now, not married, right? She's 73.
Yes.
Right? 73. At some point in her life decided, well, that ain't for me at this point. And Dave was talking about women being lonely in society today. So I want to touch on this. And I do want to make this a point, right? Because as he was at this event, What was it called? Sundresses and linen.
The Sundresses and Linen. Shout outs to the Qs.
Shout outs to the Qs, man. That sounds like a dope event. He was talking about the point of women being lonely out there in society, and Dave's rolling out there as a single dude. So like how he reads and reacts to room and how women are responding got me thinking about chivalry in spaces like that, what's accepted, what's not, how people react to each other in terms of human connection when they're out, what they're looking for, what they're not. So Dave, I'm gonna let you expound on this because you were there, I was not, and I haven't been in a space like that in a very long time. So have at it, B.
No. One of the biggest things too, as I get into this thing here, and hold on, because I definitely don't want to get cut off as I'm getting into this. And it seems like the universe is trying to do that right now because the battery is low computer.
Plug your computers in when you do a podcast.
That's right. Plug your
It's happened to me many a times. We on these Zoom calls. I'm like, my computer's about to die. Hold on, let me plug my computer in.
So here, back at it. Computers plugged in. So here, the event, wonderful event. Get there. Energy's great. Obviously I gave a shout out to, all the ladies that did some amazing stuff at this event. It was off the chain. But as I got to, for me, the balance is killing the ego, right? So, you go there and then I started to notice that there was this energy of, one, I started to sit back and it's probably about 350 people there, right? And there were not a lot of guys there. They were all women, mostly women, right? And I started to see a lot of tables with just women at them. And there was like one or two guys at each table. And the one or two guys were either the boyfriend or the husband to one of the women, right? Which then made me think about. I said, well, wow, here's this. I don't know if if there's this proud sense of being independent or this modern woman thing, but a lot of these women are starting to look lonely, and the energy was just kind of different. Who would talk to me would be the women that were like 15 to 20 years older than me. And the women that were my age or younger weren't saying anything. They weren't looking me in the eye. They weren't smiling and nothing. And one of the interactions I was talking to DJ Fix about was that I was, when I was enjoying the music, right, and I was on the side of the stage and I was dancing. Shout out to DJ Wynn for tearing it down too. DJ Wynn always on point with his stuff. Women were coming outside of the inside of the building, and they were going to walk down the stairs. Right now, we've been raised to be gentlemen, right? We open up doors, right? You reach out to the women to help you. Hey, you need it. Do you need me to help you get down these stairs and everything else, right?
Right.
So none of the women looked me in my eye, and I looked at every single one of them. None of them looked me in the eye to even say hello, to smile, or anything, right? They just walked down the stairs themselves in heels. They could have fell, tripped, whatever, right? Which then I was thinking to myself, I was like, I don't even feel like putting my hand out, but I know I'm looking at them just in case they need help. But the energy I'm getting is like, I don't need your help. It's independent of that, because you never looked at me, you never smiled, you never said anything. If you would have tumbled down these stairs in your heels, I probably would have laughed, right? Until one of my friends come down, and my friend comes and she goes, you need to put your hand out to help me down the stairs. And I'm like, okay. Oh, I looked at her and I waved her off. I was like, man, get out of here with that nonsense. I'm trying to enjoy the show, right? But then one of the girls behind me was like, yeah, I ain't seen him do that. And I turned around and looked at her. I'm like, well, you ain't even looked me in my face. You didn't even smile at me. But now you got something to say because My friend decided to try to jump on me, and then my friend noticed that the girl was coming at me, so she kind of like jumped in the middle and like bumped. Oh, don't worry about it. I was just playing with you. And then the girl backed off, right? But I'm just thinking to myself, like, this is why you're gonna find yourself in a lonely place, right? Winter's coming, right? You ain't snuggling up with nobody unless you gonna manipulate somebody to snuggle up with you, because this is what y'all are giving off. As a single man, I walk in there, right? Y'all don't see a ring on my finger, y'all don't see no one on my arm, and y'all think I'm here, y'all checking me. I see y'all checking me out on the dance floor, right? Because I'm surveying the room. But none of y'all are smiling, none of y'all are speaking, y'all are doing
And
anything.
that's okay. That's okay. Right? And that's what it's about. The fact that you can see that just lets you know none of y'all are for me, right? And if I then respond in that way, the question is, well, you didn't say anything. I don't want to say anything to you, because when I'm looking out, if I'm a single man and I'm standing in a place where I think there are some other individuals in this location that might be on the same level or on the same mission that I am, like just trying to see if there's somebody here, right? I'm looking around, but I get, well, not even I don't get, there is no response in the audience that is of that nature. So if there is no one of the audience that responds in that way, then I should not act in that way. But now you're acting like there's a problem with me because I looked and I didn't see. And now there's a problem. There shouldn't be a problem because you told me you're not interested. And so now I'm acting disinterested because there's no interest to be given, because there's no interest wanted.
That song and dance is so stupid to me. It's so stupid to me. Okay, you go out. You want to enjoy some music. You want to maybe have a few beverages. You with your friends. If you are single in this space, maybe you're looking, maybe you're not. Maybe the club is the place for you to find somebody. Maybe this venue is, maybe it's not, right?
Right.
But the energy that some people put out, right? And some women do it. A lot of women do it to protect themselves because men are nasty.
They are
Let's
nasty.
not get that twisted.
No, let's
right?
not.
A lot of men take it too far.
Fucking gross.
But for the normal dude that's out there, that's single, that's trying to, either find a connection or simply be a gentleman.
Right.
I've held doors for women and have gotten the response, ew, that's thirsty. What? I'm never doing this again. That's what you want to say.
Right.
You can't because we were raised a certain way.
Right? You don't want to say the horrible thing. I should trip you.
Like we used to do, trip each other as kids.
Right.
Kick the back leg.
Right.
But yo, man, like where along the way did it get to this space where men and women or people out there are so in their own little bubble and having this negative experience when you're supposed to be enjoying the energy, enjoying what's going on around you? Like a lot of it is nasty out there.
A lot
of it is nasty.
Yes, I can say, and Dave watched me go through this transition. I transitioned from that external. When I first started to understand what I was doing, I understood it as the fight of turning my hand, of pointing from the outside in, right? And once I started that like, it kind of feels like how Iron Man looked when he was making the element, when he was pulling that wrench, like focusing that laser beam. That's how I feel like I'm focusing this laser beam right onto like I'm creating a new element here. And I think you guys have seen some of it like happening, right? Like you guys make statements like I haven't seen you do this like this, and I don't know where it's even coming from. I'm just letting myself be, right? Finally being my friend. Finally, like I realized that all the weight that I felt like the world was on me was actually just me on me. And then I realized that I built that guy to beat the world. And so then I was like, wait, I'm trying to fight him, but I can't fight him because I built him to beat the world. So that's going to be the hardest fight in the universe. So he's my friend now. So we're all together. So balance once again, Dave. Shout out to Dave. So So, so now being out there, not having, it's like, I'll be in these environments, and like now that I understand myself just a little bit more, I allow myself. I don't think about what others are thinking about. I realized that I used to stand on a dance floor and think about what the girl was seeing, right? Like, and then like try to like, and then so I was paralyzed by that for most of my life. Y'all saw me. I was on the sidelines for most of my existence, but I really wanted to dance. I love music. DJ Ultra Instinct. I love music, right? And so
is that the official name?
That is the official name.
Wow.
Shout out to DJ Ultra Instinct. Thank you. So I find myself now standing on the dance floor, just being in the music. I call it soul surfing because, shout out to soul surfing. That's one of my brands. I'm no longer worried about the external environment and how it's perceiving me, because I know I have no idea now of truly how it's perceiving me. And everyone's perceiving this environment in their own way anyway, because everyone's their own unique individual. And then I realized that I got the chance to interact with an individual like that person, that the only person like that in the universe. Every time you meet one person, it's the only thing like that. It's the most unique. It's like priceless now. Like, so now interactions for me are priceless. So now I'm interacting with individuals from the person that they are, but it feels like that people don't really know who they are. So when you're interacting with them, you get these like weird like layers of like I don't know, like the eyes, the where they look at you is like this weird placement. It's like you can see this like cloud over their face, like they're recessed back from reality. You can see their movement. They sometimes like dart their eyes over your body to check you out, to to make sure that they're safe. So it seems like if you're out here, are you afraid to be out here? Because I found that I have a tendency to gravitate more towards those women that had the freedom about themselves, right? Like they were out, they were laughing, they were smiling. And this is, you hear a lot of women say, stop asking me to smile. Why do you keep talking about me smiling? Right. And one of the things that I picked up when Dave was talking was how he was looking for that. Can I get it? I mean, do you feel good? That's the indication of it. Indication of, do you feel good? Because I feel good. And so I'm just looking for feel good. If you don't feel good, I don't know how to interact. And then if that means you don't feel good. And then if I interact with you like you don't feel good, you're like, why are you interacting? You don't know how I feel. I know. But this is what happens in relationships too with communication. Stop acting like I'm supposed to be able to read your mind. And let's just act like this is an interaction outside and no one knows what's going down. But either way, loneliness,
please
yes.
Don't get me started on the mind reading piece, man. Yeah. We will dig into that on
loneliness.
Episode.
Loneliness, man. Psychological drama is real. I made up so much psychological drama to the point where, this is my divine feminine. I'm talking about my energies, right? Like people are like, I felt like, am I being effeminate when I would like, you did this to me and made me feel this way. Like, wait, I'm like examining my emotions and stuff. But once again, I was pointing on the outside. Once I started to realize I was just making up the whole psychological drama in the first place. If I'm making it up, I can stop it.
Well, I'm I think at this point for the loneliness of women, they'll be very careful, right? I think they're making it okay. They're making it okay. Like they put everything that they're bringing up and they're creating, they're making it okay to be lonely. Like it's all right. And that's the type of feeling I was getting. I was looking around and I was like,
that's a real concept.
Yeah, wow. You're making it okay to be lonely. You want to sit with your girls over there. You don't want any guys to be around you. But when y'all all go home to just yourselves.
Here's a question for both of you: do they have to do it? Do they need to protect their loneliness?
So I was thinking about that earlier.
Yes, their loneliness now is the permanency, is the long-term relationship. And so really, Dave, you just touched on something real. Thank you both. Y'all chew on this. If they go with you, then they're going to give up their long-term relationship. They're married to loneliness. How? How are they going to give it up for a one-night fling? You're going to mess up their life.
That's why I say the winter's coming. Because the minute you need
winter is coming.
When you look to your left and you look to your right, and I'm not there to hold you, right? Where you going to? Right? You say you married to your loneliness. That's crazy. That is a crazy concept. Married to it. Right?
And I made it great. I got everything I want. Because when you're alone, who else is there to satisfy? Just yourself. So you'll create a nest, as everyone should, right? To exist comfortably. Unfortunately, what's the most comfortable state you could ever be in, guys? If I drop your body off a building right now from 30 floors up, what's the most comfortable state you could be in when you hit the floor? Exactly. Dead. So every time we try to make ourselves comfortable, we're literally training ourselves to die.
That's a crazy concept.
There's a beauty in the uncomfortableness. So that also means that there's a death in the loneliness. There's dying in installments.
I gotta hit this message. Message.
Dying in installments, and there's death and loneliness. And are you married to your loneliness? I think we hit on a lot of points out there that I think people will have to think about. As they're thinking about.
Let's skip some real points. Married to loneliness. Animals. You buying cats or dogs? Well, mostly dogs, because that's all I see.
Dogs are great. Shout out to dogs.
But nasty though too.
I love dogs, but I just met Moses yesterday. He was a dog on the beach. I loved him. Shout out to dogs.
Dogs are great, but they nasty, man.
I see nothing but packs of women going to comedy shows. There's no dates anymore. There's no men in the packs of women, which is good for single men. Appreciate that. But but going to packs of women alone is kind of a red flag for men now. Just so you ladies know, us single guys, when we see just a pack of women, we probably think all y'all have issues, because us men know we have issues. We have solely agreed that we have issues and we're dealing with them. But when we see y'all, for some strange reason, this conversation seems to happen. Y'all feel like y'all don't have issues, and I just see packs of y'all just talk to each other, and y'all just do that, and that's a red flag for single men. So just so you know,
everybody got issues, but are you doing the work to heal? Right? Are you doing the work to heal? And I don't think a lot of people are out there. I think a lot of people have issues with reality. I think a lot of people, especially in the age of social media, we retreat into that, especially when we feel uncomfortable. You see a lot of people whipping out their phones and either recording themselves, right, God, when they're supposed to be enjoying the moment. When I was out in Cali, I talked a lot about this. I talked a lot about trying to set aside the electronics, set aside the work, set aside the phone, set aside social media even, and enjoy, reconnecting with y'all, reconnecting with mom, just to be in the real moment. Yes. And it's hard to do. It's either people are living in the past, right, which is a waste of energy, or they're thinking too much about the future, which I certainly do all the time. I told y'all the timelines be beating my ass, thinking about the future and where you are, where you're not. Yep. And it's hard to sit here in the moment and actually feel, right? So like one of the tactics that they talk about psychologically, and Nello alluded to this, right? If you're ever thinking about the past or the future, try to focus on what's happening to you right now, what you can feel. So focus on what you hear, or your senses, the wind, right? Something beautiful in nature that you might see. And that should help to refocus you and recenter you with what's going on right now. I can literally remember laying on the beach with y'all and started thinking about work. Oh shit, I gotta send this email. I gotta set up this. And then a breeze came over my body. A breeze came over my body. And it felt great. And I was like, hold up. Yes. I got to stop, you know?
Yo, and this is exactly why I got we're gonna be taking the students to and the kids to the beach, right? Like, so we're Layne Enterprises is setting up, the route. It's the Soul Surf and Beach route, right? Like, we're gonna have buses leaving Tyler Mall and shuttling kids down to you know, Mission Beach, so that folks can actually have that experience where they can center themselves and be outside, be inside of themselves for a moment.
And especially when they live that close, just an hour and some change away.
Exactly.
Let's back it up a little bit, y'all. Let's talk about that, D. Let's talk about Black Genius, D Lane 6. Let's talk about Layne Enterprises. Right? Shout out to Layne Enterprises LLC. If y'all didn't know, right? That is a company that the family has put together, and it is real. So as you might be hearing it first on this podcast, but the Horsemen have been doing a lot of things in the community in our respective lives. But we have come together as a family, and we have put together this business that encompasses all. Now, as my brother Black Genius would say, we're not in the business of convincing people, you know, to to do certain things to move you forward in life. Because I'm not wasting energy on convincing you. But at the same time, we are doing, and we feel that sharing these experiences that we are our journey through life should help push you forward, and hopefully this is helping push you forward with things that you want to obtain in your life, right? So this partnership, when Black Jesus is talking about taking kids to the beach, this partnership is with a nonprofit that does a lot of good things in the community called Family Is All That Matters, the Fighting Group, right? Shouts to the Fighting Group. Grand opening is August 21st, right? Layne Enterprises partnering with the Fighting Group is involved in the community and involved in giving access to great life experiences that hopefully will open the eyes and let young ones know that there's more to life than what they're just seeing on a day-to-day basis in their own little box. And hopefully it does that for them, and they get to experience more and want to do more and go out and really touch the world, be something and touch. Just go be something in the world. Go do something in the world. Right? You ain't got to sit at home just playing video games all day. Just go be something in the world.
We talked about that last podcast about, right? Exactly. Just do something. Jeez.
So shout outs to Black Genius for letting me in on that segue of that. Appreciate that, bro.
No doubt. Shout out to y'all, man, for laying out the vision. Oh man, yeah, I got the vision. Shout out to Cherokee. Yo, I do want to talk. I want to touch on movies. I want to switch lanes for a little bit. Change lanes. I want to change lanes for a little bit. Look at that.
Change the lane.
Let's talk about movies. Did y'all peep Suicide Squad?
I'll insert that. I'll do an insert for that. Like, change lanes.
We'll talk about that a little later. But I did find something that I got a little piece for you. Yes.
All right. That sounds like a little something. Right. Did y'all peep Suicide Squad?
Yes.
Yes, and not as close up as I wanted to, but I did get through it. Yes.
You did get through it.
Like one time. Like I did it like twice.
You said
okay.
Okay.
So Idris Elba, Bloodsport.
Yes.
I thought he was a fantastic addition, right? He didn't want to slide right into Will Smith's spot. I thought that was smart, right? I don't need to step into this man's shoes. There's enough characters out there. Y'all could build me in. I thought he was great.
Yeah. Fucking awesome.
I thought he was awesome in this.
Absolutely.
It was funny.
Rock. He was a rock. Yes.
He was like the centerpiece. He was the anchor.
Right. The great gravity. Yes.
Great gravity. I thought John Cena did a great job.
Dude, I love John Cena. They were really battling.
That one scene where they were walking through, battling with the kills.
Yeah.
Yo.
Shout out to John Cena for stepping his game up as a wrestler because in the movie space, I don't think any other movies before I've seen Fast 9,
Yeah.
Suicide Squad, that I see him step his
Yeah.
his acting game up. So shouts to him.
And he really has a fear of heights. So any of those scenes where you see him like really doing like the scene where he's up high, he's scared to death, like on some like shaky knees type deal.
Yeah. I haven't seen Fast 9 yet, but Suicide Squad I enjoyed. Now, the standout. I gotta shout out Margot Robbie.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
She is quite possibly the best Harley Quinn I've ever seen cast. Perfect.
I don't want anyone more. I don't want anyone else.
Flawless.
Years. Flawless. I should stand up.
Yeah,
I should stand up and give.
Yo, Margot Robbie, fantastic as Harley Quinn, bro. Now, Jared Leto as the Joker, we know that was trash. That was garbage.
And he prepared for that. Like, and I'm sure that was difficult.
He prepared for it, man. He got the character. He got dark.
Hold on. Okay. You guys know I'm big on this movie stuff, right? You guys know it's like, so I can't really say Jared Leto is trash.
Oh,
Come on, bro.
Yeah, you gotta hear me out. You gotta hear me out, right? Because I take this to the producers and the director.
You might be Stephen A on this one, but I'm listening.
You gotta hear me out. You gotta hear me out.
And I'm listening. Okay.
Listen. That's like, okay. That's the equivalent of you taking we're talking about a super dope director and a trash director.
Okay.
You got to remember, we were introduced to Jared Leto in what? What were we introduced to?
Batman versus Superman, wasn't it?
No,
where was it? It was Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
All right. Who had the reins on the first Suicide Squad? What director?
I don't know, but all I know is I didn't like him as Joker.
No.
Trash. When we saw this the next version of him, we saw him in the Justice League and Josh Whedon. Right now, WB has a complete. They're discombobulated up here when it comes to DC.
Yeah.
And
okay.
They're constantly switching directors. Constantly, like there's nothing concrete. So like the Snyderverse.
Oh man, you going deep trying to save him.
No,
Don't save him.
You gotta listen. The Snyderverse. I'm not trying to save him. What I'm saying is that sometimes you're just given a bad rap. Like you just start with a bad rap.
Dude.
Because
the rendition of the Joker.
That's his character.
I didn't enjoy it.
That's him.
Now coming after Heath Ledger, for anybody that was going to be tough. I did not enjoy him as the Joker from what we saw.
I get you. But
Him as Morbius.
That's what I'm saying. That was his rendition of the Joker. And then when you saw him, just a couple of verses in the Justice League, the Snyderverse version of it, just that dream state of him and Batman talking to each other. I was like, this is a different Joker. The one with the long hair, not the slick back hair, right?
Yeah.
The long hair, right? That scene with each other was crazy. And it was just because of the different vision of the director. It was
for sure
vision of the Joker. And I was like, that's the Joker I want. I don't want this Josh Whedon Joker. I don't want whoever.
When I watch videos on how I just blanked on his name. Homeboy, that's the most famous version of the Joker that we consider.
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger, yes, thank you. He composed that. They gave it to him. Say it again.
I said arguably the best Joker because the other Joker is Jack Nicholson. They're arguing. They're both up there like this.
Agreed. But and they gave him the character, and it was his job to compose it, right? Like he worked on, like he was like they gave him clothes. He changed the way he was wearing the clothes. He would add colors to the clothes, right? Like he would ad lib certain things the way that the Joker did things. Like he changed his vibrato in his voice. He like the way he like he went that far with it, and I'm sure Leto, like I said, I'm sure he prepared for this. I'm sure
he
did
did
all the same things. They all went to the same training types of schools, all learned same similar techniques. And I ain't saying he's not a skilled actor. We all know you said Morbius, yes. And he might have understood that mentality better. Maybe he could get closer to that character in some way, shape, or form. But Joker? Mm-mm.
Did you all watch The Little Things with Denzel Washington and Jared Leto?
The Little Things.
The Little
Yeah.
Things.
Yeah.
With
Nah.
the robot guy. What's his name? The robot guy. Denzel Washington.
Yes.
Okay. So
No.
that's what I'm saying. Like, so here he's this creepy, supposedly.
He's way better as a creep.
Right, you never thought about it, right? And if I'm not mistaken, I think Denzel actually directed this Little Things movie, right? And here he's playing this role to a T, right? And I always say it's what the director put out there. Now, Donna, when you talk about Heath Ledger, you can't talk about Heath Ledger without talking about Christopher Nolan, the Nolan brothers. You cannot talk about them. They directed that movie. The Nolan brothers Inception.
But they still needed the content.
I get it, but when a director is directing you and saying this is what we want as the Joker, and we're giving you, yes, they go into their impressive act, and this is what they're going to bring out, right? But you also someone directing you on it. So when someone's directing you, he didn't have. I guarantee if we probably would have had Zack Snyder from the jump, we would be good. And the reason why the second Suicide Squad was better than the first Suicide Squad, right, was because James Gunn who directed Guardians of the Galaxy. And we love Galaxy. So it is true to form that every time. Look, here we go. I'm gonna give you another example. Star Wars.
Right.
George Lucas, or if it's George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, right? Whatever. George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, compared to J.J. Abrams, right? And then he depicted who the directors were going to be for the last three. And what did we get? We got trash Star Wars. Trash. I'll wait.
Now look. Now directors matter, man. All I'm saying is where actors have creative license. He said, "What did we get? Trash." Actors have creative license, and I do not like where Jared Leto went with the Joker. You know, I do think he'll be great as the whatever Morbius is supposed to be, the living vampire, whatever. I do think he'll be great as that, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm not saying Jared Leto is a bad actor. Right. I think his rendition of the Joker didn't work. Right. I just didn't need to see it. All the tattoos and all this. I don't need you to laugh like that, bro. Come on, man. I thought he was ruthless, but I don't need you. I don't need that from you. Before we break, two other things. Y'all can throw out any movies that y'all seen out there. Beckett with John David Washington.
I'm checking that out today.
I checked it out last night, and I won't give too much, but I thought he did a riveting performance. There's a couple of things. Okay. I thought he had a good performance. It starts off a little slow, so you got to see it through. Okay. Right? By the time it gets to the third act, it picks up. And he gets into his bag. He got to get in shape if he's going to be playing these roles.
Interesting,
right? Bro got to get in shape. Like,
Dude, you know this
What?
cat was like a running back at like Howard or something like that,
yeah,
someplace
but
like that.
Yeah, well. Listen. The one thing about John David Washington that I love about him, and I love the dude.
I wonder if he did it for this role.
Yeah,
he might
that's
have.
what.
He might have. He might have been like less in shape for the role because he's supposed to be playing a regular dude.
If you look,
Ah,
if you look at him in Ballers, right? Ballers, he's in incredible shape.
yeah.
But I actually thought he was what's my boy's name that was always getting in trouble? Antonio, what's his name? Antonio
Brown.
Yes, Antonio Brown.
Yeah,
That's who
bro. Yeah, that's kind of who he's supposed to be playing. Yeah,
always just this wide receiver that's nice, getting in trouble, whatever.
yeah,
Shape. But for this movie, Beckett, yeah, a little bit,
yeah.
I think he's doing like that. He had to put on some weight for the role type thing.
Yeah, it might have been. It might have been. Now, don't get me wrong. He did mad running in this movie, so he's in shape. But but I think he also had to look like a regular dude in there. But I enjoyed it, man. Check it out for yourselves. It's on Netflix. I watched it last night, and it started off slow, and I feel like because of Corona, like actors like him, actors like Thor, Chris Hemsworth, they're doing these off-world movies. They filmed this in Greece. Chris Hemsworth did his film overseas or whatever during Corona, which was pretty dope. But you could tell these movies aren't being made in the U.S. probably because
Which one was that?
Oh man, I'll look it up right now. This was the one where he was like the kid got kidnapped and he was like this super soldier and he got hired to go get him back. It was like a one-man army.
That's what.
Oh, I might get lucky and have not seen it yet.
No, I actually saw that. I actually saw the one that Damien's talking about.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. Extraction.
Yes.
It's called Extraction, and I mean, this shit is action to the max. You're going to enjoy this one. It's
That's
like
awesome. That's awesome.
I mean, like Rambo status. Like people are dying. Like yeah. So that and Car Masters. Car Masters is back.
Oh
So
yes,
Netflix-
I saw it.
Y'all, shout out to Temecula.
Yes.
Shout out to Gotham Garage, man. My guys from my guys from Car Masters are back, and I started dipping back into that last night. They do their custom builds.
Love that show.
I am nowhere near a custom builder, but I have started tinkering on this little project car that I got outside that I'm trying to flip. So that leads me to believe I can do more. So check that out when you get a chance.
Awesome. Listen, this is incredible. This our second show, man. Incredible, very insightful. I've actually taken a lot from this second show. So shout outs to the second show. Yeah. Go and check out add Titans to your list.
Yes.
Titans.
Add Titans to the list. The whole third season is about the Red Hood. And if you've ever seen the Red Hood animation, just seeing it in real life action, it's nuts.
Oh, that's what you were talking about. Because I'm still on season 1.
They did a fantastic job. So, DC.
Oh, he turns into the Red Hood.
Repetitive.
Yes.
DC's repetitive, but every time they tell the stories, whether it's either animation, obviously they need to do a better job with their real life action on some of their characters, right? Like we need the best version of the Green Lantern. All right, I'm super Ryan joke about how bad that movie was. I need the best version of the Green Lantern. Bring him to life. Green Lantern is the real deal, and you need to go ahead and stop playing around with Jonathan Stewart as the Green Lantern.
We all know Jonathan Stewart, baby. Let's get it.
Military attitude, whatever. We need the
black man.
And then I'll leave you guys with it's a great couples show, Drop Dead Diva. If you guys haven't watched that, go check that out. Single Man, that's a great show. If you like, oh, you want to go watch something, let's watch Drop Dead Diva. It's fun. It's funny. It's about a lawyer who's overweight and a model and a model who are not intertwined at all, but the model ends up dying randomly in a car crash, and the lawyer ends up getting shot during at her law firm. And then the model gets herself out of heaven by sending herself back to earth, but she gets put in the overweight lawyer's body. And now she's walking around as an overweight lawyer, but she has all of the overweight lawyer's intelligence and knowledge of the law. But she still acts like a model. And so it's this great juxtaposition, and it really starts to talk about identity, right? It's a show that really examines identity from the inside out. Like, what if your soul, if your soul says you're a model, who's to tell you to act or treat or like do anything in a different way? And it goes through these like crazy, like, yeah, it's a great show. It's a fun show.
Before we close, drop that Diva. I'm gonna put that on my list. Before we close, how y'all doing with the juice fast, man? Your skin is looking gorgeous. Y'all glowing over there.
Thank you. Day 4, baby. Y'all saw me finish my drink during the juice during the beginning of the show. I love it. It tastes amazing. Food fantasies for sure. I wish I could just choose something. I really feel like it's more about like food as entertainment. I feel more like I lost the ability to distract myself by putting things in my mouth and chewing on it for a long time. But because I'm satiating the hunger, but it's like I miss like the social thing about it, putting like the wearing my body down, putting my body into a food coma, that type of thing. Like that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's what I had to remember, man, is like food is such an event. Yeah. So when you come home, it's like, oh, what are you making for dinner? Well, I'm just going to have a juice. So you got to go through that whole thing. And I forgot how boring it was in that sense, that you don't have the chance to do dinner or actually engage in dinner anymore. So you got to wrap your mind around that. But I do feel good, at least. First 4 days in, the first couple days were rough, but then you chug some water, and smells.
Yes,
everything smells delicious. You walk past.
Yes,
Joe was making some like string beans. I was like, ooh, that smells good. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me how that starts to your different senses start to kick off
and come back. Yeah. And how we realize we ran our bodies, our only machine, to get through this one life we got. One life. Our only machine, we're running into the ground. And then all of a sudden, 4 days later, oh my God, the world is different.
Yeah.
4 days of drinking some juice.
Because it's like running a car and never changing the oil.
That's right. That's right. Sludge in your arteries, in your veins. Yeah.
Cholesterol and shit. Dave, how you doing with it, man?
Hey, I'm activated. You see me out here. I'm out here doing like this. I'm out here. I was on the dance floor last night like.
How are you handling with the process? Did you start juicing at home yet?
No, not at home yet. I still I went out and just copped a bunch of the
juices.
Yes, the and just sticking to it now. Part of the like you said, the social part of it, right? Like I'm not getting away from that. I'm not going to a restaurant to be with the fellas, and smell of good food. But it's the interaction of, I'm not eating anything. I'm just bring me some water, right? You know what I'm saying? I know they can't grind nothing down. Like I'll have.
You can have smoothies. You can have smoothies.
Yeah. No, I'll go to juice it up, like stuff like that. But I'll do it in the car, and then I'll go in and have my, and get to my, interactions. And then it's supported because the interaction, the waiter's like, okay, you're not in here ordering nothing. Like, why are you in here?
Right.
But it's the interaction with your people is, talking business. Y'all know that, going out and having a good time and talking business that's my golf course, right? So, I'm never going to stay away from that. But I'm noticing that I'm popping up. I know, I can tell you, I was on the dance floor last night. I was moving and shaking, and and then I had the crazy thing is how you know how you can understand how you feel, right? So we had to park way like up the road, like they were like the second parking lot. And when I got out and I walked, I was like, oh, I feel good. Like I'm doing like this, walking.
Feel better, right?
Right?
Right.
And then I danced, and I'm standing around, and I dancing. You start to feel it like the workout, right? And then I had to take that walk back up on the hill, right? And I'm still feeling good. Now, mind you, it was wearing on me because I'm like, man, I didn't know how long this walk was by myself in the dark, walking up the hill to a point where I'm like, well, how far is this? I grabbed the keys to the car to look for this and started pressing the button to see where the flashing lights would be in the sky or the car, right? And I was like, oh, okay, I'm there right there, right?
That's like a moment. Yeah.
Right, like losing the weight, right? It's good, right? Because I lost 50 pounds, right? And I hope, obviously this is to get us to lose more. But I have not done the I'm doing the detox too at the same time. So I want to see what happens when that gets incorporated with this. Because I was employed, as I've been talking about this juicing, was like, well, detox at the same time and see what that happens. So I'm going to be flushing the body out completely also at the same time and I took your advice, Black Jeans, about the protein. So I'm adding some protein into it. So that's what I'm doing. Like parts of the day, I'm getting protein and putting protein into my body at the same time as I'm juicing. So
that definitely helps.
I feel good, man. I feel good about it. I mean, yeah,
Collagen. That's another thing. I put collagen in. So I went to sleep on a watermelon pineapple juice with collagen protein. And so because I'm thinking, so I've been sedentary or whatever for like COVID, like for like a year and some odd. So I'm figuring if I'm gonna rebuild my body, I gotta make sure my connective tissues are strong too, and they haven't been used in a long time. So it's similar to anything, you pick up a fucking old rubber band, right, and you go to stretch, pop, and so I'm not looking for that, and so I'm using collagen protein to rebuild my ligaments and my connective joints, right, like the connective tissues.
Where'd you pick it up?
For us, it's Sprouts. For us, we picked it up at Sprouts.
Sprouts. I've gotten it. I mean, you can get it from CVS. Yeah, right. Exactly. Like collagen peptides or whatever. But you can get that from. Not that these are promotional items.
Right. Not yet.
But
sooner or later, you guys are probably gonna hear that from us.
Yeah. We'll probably have some joints out there. So it's episode 2. For the listeners out there, I want to thank y'all for rocking with us, man. I want to thank y'all for soul surfing with us here on the Changing Lanes podcast. Once again, this is Big Sexy Black's Genius and Layne 6. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to mash that like button and subscribe because we here and we coming to you, baby. All right, fellas, it was a pleasure sitting here with y'all. I gotta head to campus real quick. Check these kids in, but I'm gonna catch y'all on the flip side, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yo, be on the lookout for Love is Unconditional, Love's Not Stupid. That's the video log I've been working on. Video vlog that Black Genius has kind of pushed me to continue to do and finish. So yes, Love is Unconditional, Love's Not Stupid. The book is coming, and be on the lookout for the Jordan Lane collection.
Real
clothing, the clothing line. So I just wanted to tap in on that before we get up out of here. Love y'all.
Tap in. Peace.
Peace to the gods.